Hello and welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Omotayo Alo. It is not yet Uhuru for the embattled president of the Nigerian Senate, as the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja today dismissed all the relief sought by Senate President Bukola Saraki, challenging the legality of his arraignment by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. But in a 2-1 judgment delivered by Justice Mo Adumen, the court held that the court CCT was properly constituted and has jurisdiction over the case filed by the Code of Conduct Bureau. In his appeal, Bukola Saraki had to lend the powers of the tribunal to prosecute him on behalf of the federal government on an alleged false asset declaration of asset. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, commended its senators for towing the path of honor by staging a walkout rather than confirm former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi as minister. It also accused the Buhari administration for paying lip service to the anti-corruption crusade. The senators confirmed the nomination of Professor Mahmoud Abubakar as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. It also approved the nomination of 5 national commissioners recently appointed by President Muhammad Buhari. The new INEC chairman and the national commissioners were cleared after a public screening exercise in the Senate. Senators elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party on Thursday trooped out of the Senate chamber after it dawned on them that the Senate was keen on confirming former Governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, as minister. This was in spite of a report by the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privilege, a public petition that was not favorable to the nominee. PDP senators put up a strong argument to stall Amechi's nomination, but their APC colleagues who were in the majority had their way.
The drama was expected. The chairman of the Committee on Ethics had set the tone by presenting a report that sought to put Amechi's confirmation on hold. Not surprisingly, Senator Anyao had the support of his colleagues in the opposition.
The committee accordingly recommends as follows. A. That since the ministerial nominee had gone to the Court of Appeal to challenge the content of the petitions and the white paper of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, the Senate is unable to recommend the consideration of his confirmation. B. That the Senate do consider and adopt the recommendation as proposed by the committee.
I just want us to follow not our sentiments, but follow our rule. That in seconding whatever motion he has, that I rather want to move a motion that in line with the agreement that was made on the day of screening, that the Senate do allow proper discussion of the report that has just been presented before us. I so move.
But the APC were prepared to push the nomination of the former Rivers State Governor through. Senate leader Ali Ndome urged the senators to settle the matter through a voice vote and got the backing of one of his colleagues who had buttressed his argument with the Constitution.
So let me explain. I stood up under the standing order to move my motion, and my motion is still standing for secondment, and you put the question.
This is the most important committee of the Senate. It is the committee of the whole. At every committee level, any recommendation can be amended. At committee of the whole, a recommendation can be amended. Point number 1. Point number 2. Point number 2. Point number 2. The basis of the leader's submission, which he brought submission. He brought it under point of order and he moved the motion, a consequential motion. It's predicated under Order 53, Rule 5, because this matter is sub judice, is pending, and Order 41, Rule 7. The Senate shall not receive any petition on any matter for which there is a judicial remedy.
Sensing that the majority will have its way, PDP senators drew attention to what they described as a moral burden on the ruling party and President Buhari before staging a walkout.
Mr. President, from all indications, we are being shut out. And the only reason I am standing up to speak is to tell you, Mr. President, that there is a moral burden on not only this Senate, but on the government of President Buhari.
With the walkout by the PDP senators, the Senate proceeded to dump the report of the committee and clear Amechi for confirmation as Minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Appointed as a Minister of the Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the presidency has hailed what it describes as the cooperation of the Senate in clearing all the ministerial nominees sent for confirmation. Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Ita Enang, said it shows that the two arms of government are working in the best interest of the nation. Senator Enang spoke to journalists shortly after senators confirmed the last set of ministerial nominees.
That there is very harmonious and amiable cooperative working relationship between the executive and the legislature, and there is no iota of dispute. Let me very specifically, before I go to my brothers of the PDP, specifically thank the senators of the All Progressives Congress, because they have shown that when the party is in power, it has to exercise its right to have its way. Let me also, in a very special way, thank the senators of the PDP and other political parties, because they had shown, even in the questions they asked, in their voting, that they all act as one Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, irrespective of the political parties, except where their political parties' interest became an issue. So I thank them. Even in the concluding part of it, they still showed their opinion and expressed it in the most decent, the most democratic, and the most constitutional manner. I appreciate them so very much.
In a related development, the All Progressive Congress has described the confirmation of all 36 ministerial nominees by the Senate as a clear indication that there is no more division within the APC family. It says in a statement issued by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lai Mohammed, in Lagos, that the cohesion and unity exhibited by the APC senators shows that the legislature is ready to work with the executive to ensure the implementation of the party agenda for the overall benefit of Nigerians. It commends all members of the party and the Senate leadership of the APC for the show of unity and notes that democracy was clearly at work despite the walkouts by the opposition over the confirmation of Rotimi Amechi. It further enjoins the legislature to join hands with the Buhari administration in the onerous task of nation building. The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal by the People's Democratic Party's governorship candidate in the April 11, 2015 election in Imo State. Emeka Ihediha challenging the election of Governor Rochas Okorocha. The seven-man panel of the Supreme Court, presided over by John Fabi, dismissed the appeal for lack of merit. The Apex Court affirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Owerri to the effect that Ihediha's failure to properly serve Okorocha and his party, the All Progressives Congress, robbed the appeal court's jurisdiction to hear the case. The Supreme Court also held that failure to indicate the addresses of all the respondents on the process of appeal was fatal to the case. Ihedioha, the immediate past Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, had appealed against the ruling of the Imo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, which in its ruling delivered on July 22 2015 dismissed this petition on the grounds that it was incompetent. He appealed to the Court of Appeal, which also on September 3, 2015 dismissed the appeal against the ruling of the tribunal. While the governorship tribunal that sat in Jos was delivering judgment, Governor Simon Lalong said he was in Jerusalem praying for his victory and progress of Nigeria. Addressing well-wishers at the Yakubu Gowon Airport in Jos, he announced that now that distractions are out of the way, it is time to work. Plateau State correspondent has the details.
At his return to the state, the governor asserted that his detractors should go off their former ways and join hands with him to move Plateau State forward, because it's time to work.
Some people were calling that don't go away. You have a judgment, don't go away, because you don't know what the judgment will be. I said I have great conviction that if it is the people of Plateau State that God used to bring this judgment, this victory, the same God will not disappoint them. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the verdict. Very soon, the Babariga you see me wearing, I will not wear it again. Because we are now going to the farm. It is settled that we have the next 4 years to show the people of Plateau State the difference.
The chairman of the APC in the state, Lateef Dabag, called on all the people who are still aggrieved to emulate the reconciliatory gesture of the state PDP chairman Raymond Dabo, who hugged him after the tribunal had passed judgment and said, "Let bygone be bygone in the interest of Plateau State."
After the verdict, he looked at me, he walked forward and embraced me and said it was over. He said what was left for the people was for the people of Plateau to come together and work for the progress of peace and development of Plateau State. That is how politics should be played, and we believe that is the end of the matter.
In a brief reception at the government house, the governor urged the state citizens to join him to move Plateau to the next level of development.
This is the time that work will start. So let us come together and make Plateau.
It expected that with the verdict of the Election Petitions Tribunal, that all hands will be on deck now for further development in Plateau State.
Well, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly. Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome, and if you're just joining us, it's CoreTV News at 4. For more news and information, visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. You'd get more on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, live space and news. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Lamade, has sued the Punch newspaper for allegedly maligning his name in a recent publication. The suit was filed on behalf of Lamade by Festus Keyamo at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Keyamo argued that by publishing allegations against the EFCC chairman in what he described as a sensational screaming headline titled "Alleged 1 trillion naira diversion," FG orders EFCC to probe Lamade. The newspaper showed its intention to malign his client and drag his reputation in the mud. He noted that the words used in the news item were libelous and damaging to the reputation of Lamade. Aside from seeking 1 billion naira in damage, the lawyer also wants the court to extract a retraction and an apology for the words published on the front page and page 3 of the Punch newspaper of Tuesday, October 27, 2015. He also wants an order of perpetual injunction restraining the newspaper from further publishing any libelous, injurious or defamatory words against his client. Online publications of the Nigerian Weekly Law Report is part of the focal point highlighted at the 30th anniversary of the Weekly Law Report held in Lagos. With the theme "The Place of Law Reporting in the 21st Century, Legal Research and Practice," Emmanuel Ajayi, who was at the event, has details.
It was a gathering of legal practitioners coming to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the publication of the Nigerian Weekly Law Report, founded by the late activist Gani Fayomi, were the focal points of the crusade for human rights in Nigeria, from judicial decisions which are captured in the law reports. Speaking at the event, the special guest of honor Richard Oshuolale Akinjide says the publication of the Weekly Law Report serves as a reference point to lawyers.
We follow it. We follow the judgment there. It's very authoritative, and I like it very much.
An ignorant judge is a calamity of the innocent. A judge must be aware of how a matter has been decided by the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. So these law reports help in establishing stare decisis. You do not do things at your own whims and caprice. It is not that this is how I feel like doing it. Some people in the past, they have considered this point on these facts and on this law, and they have felt that this is the way it should be decided.
The issue of online publication of the law reports and judicial reforms were brought to the front line.
Yes, it's the issue of making it online, bringing it online, so that it doesn't have to be hard copies alone. We want to see it online equally.
Law is dynamic. And if law is dynamic, it means that we must keep abreast of developments, globalization, and what have you. Nigeria cannot afford to remain behind. So as as the modernization evolves, as globalization evolves, so also should our law. We should try as much as possible to reform our laws to make the laws that are applicable in Nigeria to be in tune with the modern trend.
Some lawyers also have this to say.
The Nigerian Weekly Law Report for the past 30 years has been a major resource guide, not only for the Nigerian judiciary, but for the Nigerian legal profession. Its consistency and enduring nature has been a veritable source of joy.
Chief Gani Fayomi, in his lifetime, was always moving with technology. He might not know how to operate the latest computer or software available, but he will acquire it and employ people to operate it. So there's no reason why this transformation of the Nigeria Weekly Law Report from hard copy, to the electronic format.
The Nigerian Weekly Law Report was founded by the late Chief Gani Fayomi, and which serves as judicial precedent of reported cases. And this publication has made tremendous impact in the judiciary. From Lagos, I'm Emmanuel Ajayi, reporting for CoreTV News.
As the controversy surrounding a certain controversial circumstances of a medical doctor, Estiana Themis, grows concerned voices, a coalition of women rights organizations, have joined the call for a probe into the circumstance leading to a vet. Correspondent Netu Elabari, who was at the press brief by the group, filed in this report presented from our studios.
Speaking on the death of the late Estiana Themis, the executive director, Project Alert on Violence Against Women, says the increase in violent cases affecting women and girls should be nipped in the bud. She also refuted the claims that the deceased was a psychiatric patient who did not seek medical attention.
What domestic defines it? It means violence that happens in the domestic arena between people who are in a familial relationship. The second one is that being that's been attributed to the Nigerian Medical Association and the Nigerian Medical Women Association, and also our own family, that she was a psychiatric patient and was suicidal, and as such she committed suicide. And we are saying to both, where is the proof? We have a lot of questions here.
A Project Alert ambassador says, as women, the group is concerned about what happened to her.
Domestic violence against women and children in Nigeria has become more prevalent. It's become more daring. It's become more in your face because there aren't enough consequences for the perpetrator, for the person who has committed these violent acts. But we just want to know what really happened to her. She's a woman like you, like me. If nobody cares, then what are we in the world for? If you cannot trust your husband, whom you share your body and your life, your children with, who can you trust? If your life is at risk in your home that is supposed to be your sanctuary, where are you safe? You're not safe outside.
Another member of the group says the home should not be a battleground of some sorts. She added that it should be safe for every man, woman and child.
The reports stated that the late doctor was rushed into the accident and emergency ward of Luth in the, in the early hours of Tuesday, October 13th, with injuries on her head and other bruises. At the hospital, she was declared dead. While the social media and the print media reported suspected acts of domestic violence as having led to the young doctor's death, speculations attributed to the Nigerian Medical Association and the Medical Women Association stated that it was a case of suicide. We are therefore calling for a thorough, unbiased police investigation into the questionable and violent death of this young female doctor. We are specifically calling for the constitution of an independent group of pathologists, if possible, from outside Lagos State to conduct a fresh autopsy. The home should not be a battlefield of sorts. It should be a safe place for every man, woman, and child.
Although the Nigerian Medical Association, Medical Women Association, and the deceased husband, a fellow doctor, all insist that her death was a clear case of suicide, the call for an unbiased autopsy to be carried out on the deceased dead body continues to grow.
In Lagos, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has decried the high rate of robbery and chaotic traffic across the state. In a statement on Thursday, his chief press secretary at BIP Arenas disclosed that the governor made this known at the inaugural retreat organized by the state government for commissioners, special advisors, and body of permanent secretaries in the state. He urged the commissioners and advisors to come up with ideas that would help alleviate the sufferings of Lagosians. The statement further disclosed that the governor has directed the repair of all potholes to ease vehicular movement and has mandated security agencies to enforce the ban on commercial motorcycle operators, popularly called Okada riders. The Kaduna State government says it is committed to providing a conducive environment for prisoners in the state. Government officials gave the assurance that the commissioning of a new cell, workshops and administrative building at the Zaria prison. The structures were destroyed by inmates in May 2015 during a riot but have now been renovated by the government. Amina Anibi has more in this report presented from our studios.
This is the new structure at the Zaria prison, which cost the Kaduna State government 24 million naira. Speaking during the commissioning, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai says the government is doing everything possible to decongest the cells. He was represented by the Commissioner for Justice, Amina Shijuade. This is the new structure at the Zaria prison, which cost the Kaduna State government 24 million naira. Speaking during the commissioning, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai said the government is doing everything possible to decongest the cells. He was represented by the Commissioner of Justice, Amina Shijuade.
The unfortunate incident that led to the destruction of this prison by fire in May of this year brought about a setback in government's effort to decongest prisons within the state. However, with the renovation and commissioning of this prison today, all its inmates that had to be transferred The Kaduna federal prisons and satellite prisons within the state will be relocated back to this prison. This will ease the congestion in the Kaduna federal prison in the state. I wish to commend the Kaduna State Controller of Prisons for his prudent management of the resources provided by the Kaduna State government for the renovation of this prison.
For his part, the Controller General Ezenwa went to express his gratitude to the government for the new structure. This, he says, is because they were built in spite of financial constraints.
There are always plans to improve on our facilities and build new ones. But we are constrained for the moment by the present economic conditions in the country and all over the world anyway. It's not limited to Nigeria. So there are a lot of renovation works that we are carrying out in a number of places, and I also hope that as soon as Mr. President settles down, there are some other areas where we have called on him and for which he's given attention. Invariably, we are going to have more facilities.
The Controller of Prisons in the state, Abubakar Garba, also had this to say on the structure.
It will be recorded that on the 28th of May 2015, this prison was destroyed by the inmates. All the cells, the workshops, administrative block were set ablaze by the inmates of this prison. The only buildings that are left behind were the mosques over there and the chapel over there. Impiano was timely put up by a combined effort of the prison arms court, the military, and police personnel, after which the remaining inmates, or all the inmates that are in the prisons, were evacuated to Kaduna Convent prisons.
It will be recorded that the workshops and the administrative building of the Zaria prisons were destroyed by inmates on May 28 this year in the course of what was the time described as a minor riot.
The Plateau State House of Assembly has adopted recommendation of its Committee on Water Resources and Energy forbidding the use of chlorine gas for water treatment. This is coming on the heels of the gas explosion that killed many residents around the water treatment factory in Jos. Our Plateau State correspondent tells us more.
The chlorine gas explosion disaster that killed tens and got hundreds hospitalized in Jos instigated the decision of the Plateau lawmakers to ban the use of chlorine in water treatment in the state, adding that alternative water treatments be used.
The committee further observed with dismay the carelessness exhibited by the management of Water Board by not putting in place measures that would have prevented such occurrence, given that it had happened twice before now.
The committee has said that Water Board should be held responsible. But what sanction are we recommending for an institution that neglected its responsibility, which ended up claiming the life of, if I am quoted right, up to 6 or 8 citizens of Plateau State?
The Deputy Speaker used the occasion to express displeasure on how he and his Committee on Security were castigated for not submitting the report on Plateau crisis earlier enough. After much deliberation, the lawmakers adopted the entire recommendation of the committee.
Whatsoever the committees are doing, it is in the best interest of Plateau, and until and unless the report is presented on this chamber and is adopted by the Honorable House, before it will become the position of Plateau State House of Assembly.
This report will not see the light of the day except we resolve that the government should take up to their responsibility, while the same management of the Water Board also seeks to take up responsibility.
They confess there was no money to hire crane, there was no money to provide some of these facilities.
With a ban on the use of chlorine, it's expected that safety measures return to water treatment plants in Plateau State.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai is convinced that the previous People's Democratic Party is to be blamed for the spate of collapsed buildings in the country in the last dispensation. He said this on the sidelines of the 28th Annual Conference and General Meeting of the Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers in Abuja. El-Rufai was represented at the occasion by his Commissioner for Works, Aruna Lambo.
Well, it was not a political perspective. It was a realist perspective. The collapse in building is basically due to lack of leadership. So I said, and so I repeat even now. That's where you are wrong. We are not going to use their foundation. We are going to make our own and establish our building on it.
Portioning a blame cannot be that easy until you carry out a good investigation properly done by professionals in that regard, and you establish the cause of the collapse. Then you can start looking for who actually would you blame it on. And I can tell you, for every single building collapse, you cannot say that it will be apportioned to one person.
In business, the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee has shared 321.9 billion naira among the three tiers of government for September 2015. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Anastasia Wakobia, disclosed this after the FAC meeting on Wednesday night in Abuja. She explained that the drop in distributable revenue is as a result of drop in crude oil price. Meanwhile, in Ekiti State, the governor, Ayodele Fayose, has lamented the state of the nation's economy and challenged the federal government to publish facts and figures on its true state. The governor spoke in Ikere Ekiti at the convocation ceremony of the College of Education, Ikere Ekiti. Rashid has more from Ikere.
Ikere Ekiti is the place as the College of Education graduates over 2,000 students. The state of the nation's education is the topic of discussion as speakers call for review in the education sector.
Failure in examinations, dropping out of subjects or school, development of poor attitude of learning, and a host of others. The solution, therefore, is a functional teacher education.
We cannot teach what you don't know. It's not enough to have master's degree, PhD degree, whatever. You cannot teach it properly unless you are told how to teach.
Lamenting the deteriorating state of the education sector, Governor Fayose placed the blame for the inability to put up necessary infrastructure in the sector on the dwindling economy of the country, urging the federal government to come out clean on the state of Nigeria's economy.
This month's allocation, I got back from Israel yesterday, got the allocation, the information about the allocation is the worst in our history. And I charge the federal government to come out straight and tell Nigeria the state of the economy. They should come out and tell Nigerians the state of the economy and stop using propaganda to run Nigeria.
Some stakeholders canvass for public-private partnership in the education sector.
Without education, I mean, nobody could do anything today in Nigeria. So the government must do a lot in terms of support to education.
Our earnings nationally, we have to go into public partnership within and without in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. A lot of people love to invest in education. We must make way for them.
The graduating students were charged to be good ambassadors of the institution. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ikere Ekiti.
We'll be back with stories from outside Nigeria just after the break.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said. And because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Also, some people will strong for Yoruba land. Will be strong man. You don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Welcome. And on the foreign scene, at least 45 people have been killed and another 140 persons injured after Syrian government airstrikes targeted a market in Damascus suburb. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said government warplanes bombed the busy market today in Douma, a Damascus suburb that has been under government attack for weeks now. A local activist who confirmed this said Douma has been under heavy attack since Friday morning. Also, major backers of Syria's warring rivals will seek to narrow divisions over the future of the country and its embattled president, Bashar al-Assad. The U.S., Russia, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Iran will meet in Vienna today with the aim of achieving the political settlement to help end the Syrian war. Representatives from Britain, Egypt, France, Germany, Italy, Lebanon, the European Union and possibly other Arab states are also expected to attend the meeting. And it's a wrap on CoreTV News at this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. My name is Omotayo Alo. Bye for now.